Hey there, welcome to Bandit's Keep. I'm Daniel. This week we're going to talk about tension and ticking clocks and kind of keeping the pace in your campaign. And also I have a sponsor, Sipaku. They've actually sponsored videos before. They make amazing battle maps, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's dig into this. You know, this is one of those things that's been sitting in my notepad, my digital notepad as it would be, for a while, because every once in a while I'll be in a conversation or I'll be looking at a conversation on a Discord server or on Twitter or wherever I'm looking, Facebook, and people will say something like, I don't bother with travel, training, research, finding stuff, encumbrance, all these other things, because I run a ticking clock campaign and there's no time for that. So this might be controversial. Maybe I should see if I can borrow the vest of protection there from Professor Dungeon Master, but BS. That's what makes it a ticking clock. When the players have to make a choice. If you don't worry about them stopping to train or to find new spells or to research things or to travel to places, then what exactly is the ticking clock? Are you making it like 5 minutes or an hour or 2 days? And how come the players are just coming upon this world-ending thing 5 days before it's happening? What you need to do, in my opinion, obviously, as all things are, on this channel anyways, not all things in the world. Obviously, all things in the world are not my opinion. What you really need to do is think about these events that could happen, these plans of your NPCs, the evil schemes of the mad scientists or whatever you're doing in your world ahead of time and start dropping clues, dropping hints. And the thing about the clock is that it should feel like, even if it's not, like it's getting faster as you get closer to the events happening. So the idea that you can't stop to train or can't stop to learn a spell should not be your idea as a dungeon master. It should be the player's choice. That is, they find out that in 6 months there's going to be this devastation. They could take a month off and learn a bunch of spells or do research, but they choose not to because they'd rather go face it now. They should make that choice. That's a valuable choice. A good example, another very similar thing, let's say that they come to an area and they find out that there is a dragon. This dragon flies out once a month and destroys a small village. Well, they don't know anything about the dragon. They don't know where it is. They don't know what kind of protections it might have, how long it's been around. They might not have that many magic weapons or spells. They can choose to go, well, you know what? The dragon's going to come in 3 days, so we have to go and fight the dragon. Or they can say, yeah, we really don't want another village to be destroyed, but if we go fight the dragon now, we're probably not going to be ready. So we're going to take this time, and it sucks. Evacuate that village. We're not going to do it now because we're going to take the time. And that should be, at least on some level, if we're playing heroic characters, that should be a tough decision for them to make. And that adds to the role play. They will decide. They'll say, should we charge forward and try to fight this thing now when we're not ready, or should we wait, train, do other things, get resources, establish an army, find out information, do researches, run commune spells, talk to the sage on the top of the hill, get some dragon fire protective armor. What should we do? Obviously, we want to stop the dragon from destroying the village. But maybe we have to stop the dragon isn't the same thing. And that's up to your players to figure that out. When they go, they shouldn't feel like, and this is important, right? Because if you've been doing this other way first, you might have to gradually get into this. When something like this is happening in my campaign, my players never feel like they have to go do it because otherwise the world's going to end and that's the campaign. They evaluate it and they say, what's going on? And since people asked many times about things from my campaign, I'll give you a specific story. First, though, I want to talk about my sponsor, Sipaku Sci-Fi. This is a couple, and they truly love sci-fi. They show their love for sci-fi by creating really cool battle maps. They've got planets and spaceships and mechs, all kinds of fun stuff you can throw on your VTT. Me personally, I use my iPad. I often bring it to games. I'll throw a battle map on there, and sometimes we even put little minis on top of it. But even just to show what it looks like, very useful. So the way you can support them is on their Patreon. There's a $5 level. That level gives you all the various maps. They put out 3 to 4 different maps a month. And with these maps, they make a lot of variations. So it might be like exploded or covered with alien goo and stuff like that. There's also a $10 tier. And with that, you get animated maps. And these are super, super cool. So whether you like to run on a VTT, or you want to put the maps on your iPad like me, or you just love sci-fi maps even for solo gaming, definitely check them out. I will put a link down in the description below so you can go to their Patreon, see what level works for you. Let's get back to the video. Right now they are trying to stop the raising, if you will, of what they're being called the old gods. They feel like these are just demons, or they're like giant demons basically. And every 2 weeks, they're sacrificing a young child. Well, the player characters ran in and stopped one sacrifice, but they found out through research that these sacrifices are a constant thing, and over the course of a year or more, they are going to eventually raise the demon, right? So it's not like, oh, we have to stop this one sacrifice, now we won. It's, we may have delayed it a few weeks. Do they continue to just keep trying to stop those sacrifices? Well, of course, the bad guys are going to put up defenses to that. They can't just do that, right? But that was one way they delayed it and bought themselves more time to do that research, to know what was going on, right? Now, they've done a few other quests. They're seeking some kind of weapons to fight this thing, other ways to stop it, and they're evaluating what makes the most sense. And in fact, because some of their companions got captured, they ended up having to let another sacrifice happen. They had to decide, should we go save our loyal companions, or should we stay here and stop one more sacrifice? And they had to make a hard decision. They're playing heroic characters. They did not want a child to be sacrificed, but at the same time, they also didn't want their friends to die, right? These are choices, and there's timers on both of them. They have to choose, right? And this is where it comes down to the idea of you definitely don't want to make all of your things the end of the world. You have the, I'm going to call the Avengers problem, or the Marvel movie problem. The first time they made a movie where the whole world was going to end unless they did something, that now every time it's got to be something else, right? Because if the players stop the world ending and you don't end the campaign there, well, now the next guy also can end the world, and the next guy also can end the world. Like, how many bad guys are there out there that can completely destroy your world? It just doesn't have a good balance to it, in my opinion. You've got to build up to these things. And small stakes can be big stakes to the player characters if they're invested in the world. All right, so again, this comes back to something I talk about all the time. My goal when I am running games is to create situations where the players must make meaningful decisions. Now, I've seen advice, and people will just say, well, travel is not interesting, so we're going to just not make the thing far away. Or if it's 3 weeks away, we'll give you a teleportation circle so you don't have to deal with that. Well, if there's a ticking clock and something's going to happen in 4 weeks and it's a 3-week journey, that can be interesting and tension can be there. But you've got to make it not that, okay, well, you're going to go on this journey and I'll roll a couple of wandering monsters, and if you encounter one, then maybe it'll delay you an hour, but you're going to make it no matter what, really, unless your characters die. That's not a meaningful choice. That's not exciting. What you've got to do is have something interesting on the way that might take their time. They're trying to make this goal. They end up at this town and there's something weird going on. Do they stay and help? Do they leave some of their resources or give up things they have to help these people, or do they not do it? Do they come back later? Do they recruit people to come help them? Is there somebody trying to stop them on their travels? Can they pick up interesting things on the way to make them have a better chance of beating the bad guy? And again, it shouldn't be bad guy over here, players start here, all the good stuff's on the way. It should be bad guys over here, players over here, oh, good stuff that way. Do we want to go get it? Do we want to take that extra week and a half when really we don't have that much time? Is there a way that we can cut our time shorter? Again, this is where players get to be creative. We don't want to just say, okay, well, in 4 weeks, the world's going to end, and it's a 3-week journey, and you're going to basically be able to make it there because I'm just going to have some fun combats on the way, we'll have some cool fights, but you'll get there, and you already have all the stuff to beat the final boss, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, that's not what we want to do, right? We want to make it so that they don't know. It's uncertain. And not this fake, they think they don't know, but really don't know. Like, to me as a GM, I don't know. I want to be surprised by what the players do. And I can't be surprised if I'm forcing the narrative forward by having such short timer clocks and not making anything interesting that would be something to offset it, right? Again, if they know that this bad guy's going to do a thing and there's nothing else that they need to do, then is it really a ticking clock? I mean, but if they have to go, if we took 2 weeks, I could learn a more powerful spell. Ooh, but that's not going to work. How are we going to do that? Well, we got to find a way to shave something off the travel. I'll go over here and negotiate with this caravan company that travels via flying ships that can get us there in 1 week instead of 3. Now, if we can make a negotiation, we can learn the spell, then go. Oh, wait, though, they're not leaving for this long. And again, you can have all these extra things in there. And the dice can make sense too, right? You just say, well, how long are things going to be? You make a dice roll. You make it factor in. This way, there's clocks, but it's not just, ooh, something's going to happen. Ooh, something's going to happen. It's things that tie into things that they learned a long time ago. All right, somewhat related to this, I'm just going to kind of wrap up and tie this thing together, hopefully, is that I mentioned this before, small things are important. And I think what we want to do is we're building a tapestry that is our campaign. And this helps if you play in more of a sandboxy style, is you want to have lots of little things that may or may not appeal to the player characters. And on some level, there should be something that connects, but don't create, first thing on the paper, the big bad is this dragon and they'll fight them and when they reach level 20. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is think about them. You don't even have to know it first. You don't have to know as a GM at first. You can say something vague. For some reason, the forces of chaos have been gathering in various places. Some early adventure hooks. Werewolves are stealing, well, maybe they don't know it's werewolves. Some vile beast is stealing cattle or tearing them up in the fields, right? It seems that the new prince is acting strange over here, and they're sending their troops in weird places. There's been rumors of orcs mining over here. Right now, we're like, okay, why are these things happening? And they're unusual, right? That's why they're coming up. The players can explore different parts of it. They can succeed at some of them. They can fail at others. If they go over there to investigate why the prince is acting weird, maybe when they go to where the orcs were mining, the mines are empty. What did they get? Who knows? Maybe they got some artifact that's going to be powerful, right? This is what we want to do. They got to make choices. You can't just have ticking clocks with no choices. They've got to have different places to go. That's why Sandbox works better for this. If you're creating a linear adventure path, I think it becomes much more difficult to make meaningful decisions based on time, because the adventure path is going to assume that you're going to be able to do the things that it's in the path on time. But if it's not a path, if it's a bunch of stepping stones and the players are skipping around trying to get to the other side of the river, it's a weird analogy, then nobody knows. Not you, not the world, not the dice, not the players, until it happens at the table. And that's always what I'm striving for. I would love to know, though, what you think about this. Do you use ticking clocks? Have you ever made that argument? Well, I can't have training because I have a ticking clock. If they take 2 weeks off, they can't complete the mission. Well, yeah. Is that something that you think is an accurate thing? Should that be the way it is? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? Are you thinking about this now when you've thought the other way before? That's what I'd love to know. Let's get a conversation going down in the comments below. Be sure to check out the description. I will have a link to Sipaku down there. They make amazing maps. I'm so happy that they decided to sponsor the videos here. What a great set of creators. Also down there, you're going to find a link to my Discord server. That's a great place to continue this conversation, and to my Patreon if you want to support the channels. I'll talk to you soon.